Okay, I'm in the process of trying to hook up to Facebook. Hello, everyone. My name is Robin Brown, and I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up. I'm going to try this again. I cannot seem to get my live videos going the way I want them to. So we're trying again, and we'll see how we do. I wanted to let you in a little bit on my creative process that I do when I'm designing cards for a card class. Many, many, many times I go on and I go to Pinterest is the first place I go. And so since I go to Pinterest, there's lots and lots and lots of ideas, especially around the holidays. And I saw a few things that I liked, and I thought, well, I'm going to try to bring these to class this week. And I surely hope that you enjoy a little walk in my shoes. It has not been very pleasant so far. I recorded a whole video and had no sound. So I'm hoping that this goes a little bit better. I do not see my feed coming up at all, but we shall see what happens. There I am. All right. So now I do see myself, and we'll turn the camera down and see if we can't make a better effort this time. I will not be able to see your comments right away, but we will try to do our best to get them adjusted. And the first thing that needs adjusting is my camera over the workspace. And that is a little difficult as I am trying to figure out what needs. I'm trying to figure out what needs to happen. You certainly don't need to see my iPad. Here we go. We're coming up on it, I think. You know, the lag is what is interesting to me. There is like a 1 or 2 second delay in what I try to present and what's actually on the screen. So hopefully we can do a better job of that too. And focus, focus, focus. I think we're getting there. Okay, so as I said, I did go to Pinterest a few days ago and found several ideas that I plan on using for card class, and welcome to my process. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to think about was color scheme. And I'm a person that likes to deviate a little bit from red and green and maybe go to blue, light blue and dark blue. And I saw a beautiful card on Pinterest. And I will put the name of the designer in the comments when I find it. But for right now, you'll just have to be surprised at what comes out in the end. So when I start doing this, I try to find all the pieces that I would like. And this person used our new, well, it's not so new, it's almost a year old now, Merriest Frames hybrid embossing folder. And I had never used a hybrid folder before. So this was my very first experience with it. This is what the item would emboss on a plain piece of paper. All these little dots, all the little greenery, and the frame around the center. So it's really beautiful on its own. Then you can emboss your piece of paper and then take one of these coordinating dies that the set comes with. It's actually a bundle. It comes together when you order the Merriest Frames embossing hybrid embossing folder. It comes with the dies and the folder. It comes with a die that would cut the outside frame out, along with some flowers and leaves from some of the coordinating stamp sets. And it also has this particular die right here. And this cuts out just the greenery but all the delicate details of the greenery as well. So it goes in between all these beautiful branches and holly and I think that's holly, and I think that's maybe some kind of pine. I'm not sure. But anyway, makes a beautiful, beautiful cut. So I thought I would experiment. The picture that I saw was an embossed piece of plain basic white cardstock. And they used Wink of Stella to add some glittery look to it. I happen to have in my stash some Dazzling Diamonds glimmer paper that is retired from several years ago. However, it doesn't do me any good sitting in my box, and I have enough to give one of these pieces to each one of the people in my class. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to use this. We're going to cut it first and then emboss it, because I have been told that that's the better process. This is rather thick, so it's thicker than cardstock. I would say it's like our thick cardstock. It's probably about a 100-pound weight or 110-pound weight. And just for fun here, I am going to take and give us a new table piece to work on, because I want to work in inches, not in centimeters. Anyway, I have cut this piece just large enough for this die to fit on here. And this is a stretch, but glimmer paper is so expensive, and I want to try to make use of this the best I can. So I cut this at 4 inches. That way I could get 3 columns across of the 12 by 12 by 5.5, which is the width of the card. So I knew that this would fit on our regular card base. So we're going to cut this first. And because I use a Big Shot for cutting rather than the new machine, I have not gotten it yet. I will bring my Big Shot up here. And we shall die cut this. One of the things that I have found with die cutting is that it always does a little bit better job and doesn't clunk. If that's a good description, clunk so much. If you put the piece at a little bit of an angle. Now, because this is thick, I don't know if you can see this. This is how I'm putting it on my plate, at an angle. And now I have to turn it back around so that I can see what I'm doing. And maybe I'll turn it this way. That'll be a little bit better, maybe. It'll just be odd for me to crank it. If it's not going to stay in position, you can put a piece of washi tape on there. But I am going to go forward and backward, and then forward and backward again, because this paper is so stiff. And if you put your paper at a little bit of an angle, it feeds the die into there a little bit easier without the gigantic clunk that it sometimes gives. And so this is just like regular die cutting at this point, except that it's this thick glimmer paper. So I'm going to do it twice, which is, and my twice is forward and backward and forward and backward. because I never do it just one direction. I always do it forward and then backward. Okay. And then I think we can temporarily move our die cut machine while I take my die brush and remove all the little extra pieces. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot on there. We're going to pull this off and we're going to see how well we did. It looks like it cut through fairly well. So, and the whole thing is on here, even though it was a tight squeeze. So we are going to follow the cut lines around here and remove our feature piece from its background. And you may think this is funny, but I actually saved these small scraps of glimmer paper. This looks like a very small scrap, but you can get Santa's belt buckle out of here. You can get a star for a card, which is, or a bunch of stars actually, which are would make a beautiful background on a leaf. You've got this whole corner. Anything that you can put on there, you're going to be able to fit. And then with a little help from the Take Your Pick tool, if I can find it, it seems to go missing quite a bit for me. Do my best with my snips. And poke out the little tiny pieces. You could poke them out after the embossing process too. That will not hurt in the least when you remove those little bits. So I'm thinking to myself when I'm doing this, is all this little poking and die cutting going to be worth it in the end? So that's what I'm thinking to myself, but I know better because I know that it's going to be absolutely beautiful. Now, if you can get your Wink of Stella to make this beautiful shimmer on your plain white paper, please, by all means, do that. That would be so much easier. This die is meant to be able to put the die and the paper and the embossing all at the same time. However, because this glimmer paper from years ago is so thick, it has little chance of cutting through on the very first time. So then what you're going to do is bring your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine back. And we are going to find the matching embossing folder for this. And you'll see that my Big Shot platform shows that I don't need any other thin die adapter or a bottom plate on here to do embossing. So here's what I do. I'm going to take our image that we just cut, and I'm going to place it in here, and I'm going to place it face down on the side of the embossing folder that has our Stampin' Up emblem. And you'll feel that this piece will kind of click into place when you have, it'll just kind of not want to move on you when you get it in the right place. And because it's liable to travel on me, I'm going to take a piece of washi tape. I have a couple used pieces of washi tape over here, but I'm going to take a piece of washi tape and put it on here. And I have another piece that got folded up. Let's see if we can unfold it. There we go. And we'll put it down here so we don't get that motion of moving. Now, you're going to close the embossing folder and hold it up and make sure that your image lines up all the way around. Now, when you emboss something, you have to emboss with the fold or the spine of the embossing folder going through first. So that means that we're going to turn this around. And we could have turned it around upside down too, but I just thought I'd like to look at that sparkle for a minute. And then my Big Shot has a special 3D embossing folder plate. And we're just going to crank that on through. It goes very easily. When you have the right sandwich, it usually does go very easily. When you have the wrong sandwich, that's when you get into trouble. And never force anything through. I'm going to try one more time, just because, like I said, the paper is thick. And I'm going to back it up. All right, and then when we take this apart, we are going to set our Big Shot aside. We are all done with it for at least a very few minutes. And we'll bring back our embossing folder and we're going to open this up. And we're going to carefully take off our washi tape because we're going to notice that washi tape, when it gets squashed and embossed, it's even more sticky. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, it's a good thing. Pull very slowly on here so that you don't tear your image. All right, and then when we take this off, this is our result. We have all the leaf definition. I don't know if you can see that. It's so sparkly, it's hard to see it. But there's veins in each of the leaves. And it's perfectly embossed, especially this nice frame is embossed around the edge. All right, so we have our outside piece done. And that is inspiring me to think of what else to do. So next is the color scheme that we want to choose. How about Night of Navy? I think that might be good. This is our standard 8.5 by 5.5 cardstock. And we are going to find our scoring tool. I don't use my trimmer often. I often use my regular paper cutter, my guillotine paper cutter. It is a Stampin' Up paper cutter that I got years ago. And I only use my trimmer if I need to cut an interior cut. So there's our Night of Navy background piece. And I am wondering if I can get, I'm gonna fold it at 4 1/4 and burnish the score line. I'm going to see if I can't somehow get this in here. Let me see. I like these little snowflake designs all around the edges. So if I could emboss this, then this could sit on top of the embossing that I have already done. Only if I do it the right way. That would be this way. So I'm not sure. Let's see. This would be this way. See, I'm trying to think out loud. So I don't know if I should try that or not. What I would do would be to center that to make sure this is all in here. And I have it a little too close to the edge. All right, there is, oh, that's interesting. That works perfectly. Well, that gets it a little close. There is a line for, on either side of the Stampin' Up! Emblem, there is a line, a little black line. Can you see that? Yes. So if I put that equal distance here and here, if I put the tip of this on the line, that may get us to where we need to be on the other side. Now, how wide is this way? This measures 6 1/4 inches. Not sure that my big shot is big enough to go all the way through, or that this is, well, maybe I will try it. If it doesn't fit, I have another thought. Let's see. Are we going to make it? Ooh. Wow, that's an awfully tight fit, and it's not putting the spine first. But let me give it a go. I would not recommend. It seems to be clearing just fine. Seems to be traveling through just fine. Traveling back, and we're going to go that way once more. And then I'm going to find out if this is really what I want to do. Because you could just emboss this front of this card with something else. Now, what it did do when it embossed was left a line from the edge of the embossing folder. And I don't think I really care for that too much. But let's see how this will look on here anyway, because then I might have another issue. Well, it looks very nice, but I don't think those dots add all that much to the outside of the card, and it makes the inside of the card look a little, well, it looks debossed. Doesn't look bad. Just interesting. So, I think I will just put it on plain. I will save that piece of blue for something else. But we are going to get another one. And I need to score that one as well. By the way, did you know that when you're using the scoring stylus, this small little end is for using on cardstock, and this end up here is for using on a DSP, so it doesn't tear your paper. If you use this end on DSP, you're liable to go right through. In fact, if you press too hard on cardstock, you'll go right through too. But we shall see. All right, so then we're going to fold this and burnish it. And we'll see. I kind of like this way with these two holly branches pointing down to be at the bottom. I believe that's the way I like it. So we're going to put that up there in the corner while we figure out what sentiment we're going to use. And for the outside layer, we're going to use that. And for the inside layer, we need to cut it down to our basic inside layer size. And this is my oldie but goodie Stampin' Up guillotine cutter. I just love it. It just works so well. And we're going to cut this at 5 1/4 by 4. It self-sharpens itself. I wish they still made it. It was made, and it even says made by Tonic Industries. Pardon me, Tonic Studios. And I was able to find another one of these in the Tonic brand without the Stampin' Up label on it. And it is the exact same cutter. And it works just as well. Oh, it's yummy. All right, I have a recycle bin back there. All right, so this is the inside of the card. And I chose for the sentiment something from the Brightest Glow. No, that's not what I used either. I used Brightest Glow. Ah, it's hard to find when you move your stamp sets all over the place. You've been working all evening with Christmas stamp sets. Well, let's see if I can find it. I just thought that the sentiments from, and this is again my process that I go through. I thought that the sentiments from Very Best Occasions were cute. With a little more sparkle and a little less stress, let's make this Christmas the very best. I really like that. And it's cute with the little holly that would match the kind of pictures that the cards make. However, I thought it was a little too, I thought this card would be a little bit more formal. So that's why I opted out of this one. And I was going to use the Leaves of Holly, but I thought it needed a fancier font. So I didn't use that one. And we got close with this one. And you probably could use any one of these in there. Like the Merry Christmas on the front. And this is the size that we would need, so it would fit in there. And any one of these sentence, may the peace of the season light your world and may your new year be the brightest. However, I am kind of like one of those people who, when you send a Christmas card, I want it to be about Christmas, about Christ, about Christ's birthday. It doesn't mean I wouldn't ever send a season's greeting card, but I thought this one is formal and I like the idea of the sentiment that says, may knowing Christ bring you peace for today, hope for tomorrow, and joy in every season. I'm going to hold that up, see if it comes into focus a little better. There we go. So I really like that. And so that is what we are going to stamp on the inside as the inside sentiment of this card. And we are going to stamp it with Night of Navy. And we're using it in a Stamparatus. I love the Stamparatus, especially when you want to make sure you get a fully inked up and centered sentiment. This is the perfect thing for doing that. And it is a little bit lighter than I want it. I want it to be a little bit more pronounced in there. So I'm going to ink it up again. And then place it down in there. Yep. And perfectly stamped right on top of it. Bring that up to see it because otherwise it looks like it's out of focus. But that's twice stamped perfectly on top of each other. The Stamparatus is just an awesome tool. And then I have mounted up the sentiment for the outside that I chose on a block somewhere. Oh, this is what always happens to me. And I don't know why it always happens to me. I definitely have things lined up, but I am able to simply lose things right in front of myself in an instant. And I don't know how that happens. I have a stamp. It's mounted on a block. It was mounted on a block. It was mounted on this block. So where? Oh dear, what I did. Look, I set my ink pad over to the side, and then I set my box of glue dots right in it. See what can happen as easy as that. Oh my goodness. Just getting way out of hand here. And I cleaned off that stamp and set it somewhere. Well, I wanted peace on earth, goodwill to men. And I did stamp it twice and could use this piece. And I might have to. I did stamp it twice. And I used the remaining die from the die set and cut another one. But I really did like the look of the item cut without the sponge daubing. The sponge daubing just did not work for me. So I have one over here that has not been sponge daubed yet. But for the life of me, I cannot find that rubber stamp. So welcome to my world. It's just going to be lost until it's found. Luckily, I have stamped another copy. So let's, in the meantime, make sure our ink has totally dried on here, which for some reason, my ink is slow to dry today. So I'm going to blot. I'm going to blot it off here just to make sure that it's totally dry. It might not be a bad idea to do some embossing with that, but I didn't think about it. So, all right, so we're going to turn this over and we are going to use some Tombow because I'm using Tombow for this instead of our Stampin' Seal or our seal because we're going to use this glue for the gluing the front piece on. So get that all lined up. That looks pretty good. Lay it down. It's the inside of our card. We're going to close that up and then we're going to take our Tombow and you don't need a whole lot. I'm going to put some in the middle and then I'm going to put a little dot here and there around the outside. Hold some of these little pieces so they don't get caught when you insert them into the envelope. Just here and there. And that should be all you need. Tombow is a very strong glue. I tell my classes that you don't need to be a kindergartner to glue now. We don't need to glue every tiny itty bitty little thing. But we do want it to lay flat on there. So, and straight, and it's not quite straight yet. So, and evenly spaced. And you can see what this one here, it is still sticking out a little too far, even though I had glue on it. We're going to stick it down there and apply a little pressure and then it stayed down. Okay. So now you can see I'm gonna put this one here, but I'm not gonna glue it down just so you can see the difference. Because this is what I thought was pretty and would look good, but I don't know. The sponge daubing just did not do it as well for me as without. So here is the same sentiment without the sponge daubing. It looks like the corner lifted because I was trying to get it off of there. And you will probably have to put this piece on, I never thought of that, with glue dots, which is why I had the package of glue dots out. Yes, see, even Tombow is not holding that corner down like I'd like it to. So I'm going to put a glue dot right there. And off. Glue dots hold down to glimmer paper very well. Okay, so, and that would be one of the easiest Christmas cards to make that there is. This is cut out. This label in the center is cut out with the remaining, the remaining die from the set. That's where the folder was. That's where the outside die was, which I should put right back in there. And I'm going to put a magnet sheet on these. So, and I cut that center piece out with this one that came out of here. Oops. There. That's how it came. So I took this out and I stamped it. I made 2 copies so that I could test which one I liked better, without or with. So you make your own decision on that. I don't know, the width is kind of growing on me now. I may change my mind totally. But anyway, you can do it either way, just so you know that. And so there you are, a little step into my small world of what I would say would be copying a Pinterest card. I did not make this total design, but I did see Tammy White, I believe it was, present it on a video. She said who the person that mailed it to her was. And so I actually found the information at stampinwithtammy.com on one of her videos. I think it was the 12 Days of Christmas video. And she was going through the Christmas mini at the time. So let me swing you back up here. Oh, I'm going to be upside down if I leave you that way. All right, everybody. Hopefully I did this right and we'll be able to hear it and see it and enjoy it. And blessings to you all for a wonderful Thanksgiving, which is coming up in a couple weeks. And thank you to all the veterans, because this is close to Veterans Day. And then also, if I don't see you, but I know I will, have a wonderful Thanksgiving, have a wonderful Christmas, and a wonderful New Year celebration. I sure do hope to be back before then. You can shop in my online store at www.robinbrown.stampinup.net. And you can also search for me on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. When the handles come into effect, you should be able to find me at Robin's Nest Creations. That's going to be my handle. But for now, you can search Robin's Nest Creations and make sure you look for the logo that has a little black bird and some cattails in it. And that's my logo. And you'll see all the videos from all our classes, and you'll just be able to see what we do. And I hope that sometime that you feel like it, that you'll be able to come and join us and join in one of our Zoom card classes. And I think I might actually make a live to YouTube one of these days. So anyway, thanks for joining in on this experiment, and I certainly hope it worked. Thank you very much for being with me. Bye now.